Hi, this video specifically deals with how to create a gradebook assignment inside of Google Classroom for a synced Synergy gradebook. So let's jump into gradebook, and there's two ways to do that. You can do that from your home page right here by clicking gradebook on the blue menu, or if you know which class you want to be in, you can click gradebook right here on your tile. So this gradebook already has an assignment in it. We'll talk more about that in a moment. But you can tell that your gradebook is synced to Synergy actively because it's got this little Google G right here at the top. And if you want to force it to sync again, you press this little G sync and you'll see it'll update in real time right in front of you. Anything that you've added or changed will carry over. So let's create an assignment inside of Google Classroom and see what happens. So we're going to pop over here to my Google Classroom, which is in my synced classroom. Let's go to, this is the stream view. We're going to go to the classwork view. So if you're new or unfamiliar with Google Classroom, all of these different tabs over here show you different things, but right here in classwork is where you would create assignments as well as find them to actually grade them. So when we come here to the blue create button, you have a lot of options. These headings that you see on my page, classwork, homework, tests, are called topics in Google Classroom. You don't have to use them. You can if you choose. Some people use it to keep their units in order. Some people use it to, mark months in their gradebook with the kids. I actually just use it based on the assignments that I'm giving the kids, so different types of assignments fall into different categories for me. Again, you don't have to use it. It's just an organizational structure they give you as an option. So under create, the first thing you're going to see is assignment. So we're going to pop that open. And for our purposes today, we're just going to use something that I give on the first day of school to the students during my class period. So this is actually going to be classwork. And it's going to be given to them on paper. So I'm not going to need to add any kind of directions or attachments down here. You can, anytime that you're in Google Classroom, add something from your Google Drive or a link as a resource or a YouTube video. You can also upload if you're, accessing a file that you've got on your saved on your computer. A lot of options for what you can add to a Google assignment, but for our purposes, this is going to be super duper simple. This will be due tomorrow. So I just give a little description for the kids so they know what to expect. It will help me get to know you. Now, over here on this side, it wants a little bit of information about this assignment. Because I'm giving it on the first day of school, the due date's going to be the second day of school. And I can give a specific time for a due date, but I don't. Close submissions after due date means nobody can turn it in. If I click this, nobody can turn this in on Google Classroom once the due date has passed. I'm not going to do that for this assignment, but obviously as the year progresses and you know your students better, you may choose to do that with certain key assignments. Under topics, I'm throwing it under classwork because that's essentially what it is. My grade category also is going to be classwork. That's what I'm going to be grading this as. I'm going to make it out of 100 points. Down here, I can assign a rubric. I obviously don't need it for that. If it were a writing assignment that I had the kids doing in a Google Doc, I can actually have Google Classroom check to see if it's plagiarized, and it will flag key passages if the kids have copied and pasted or used AI. So that's always a nice little function to use. But for our purposes, super simple. We've got what we need. We're going to hit assign. And we know we've done this correctly. This is going to pop up exactly where I wanted it to under classwork. I can pop this back open. I can, from here, edit it. So I can add information to it. I can delete it. Okay? But I'm happy with how it looks. And if I come back out here to the stream, you'll see it's hanging out there with the other assignment. So let's go over into Synergy and see how this looks. And you'll see It didn't show up yet, but I'm going to force Google to sync, and then it will show up. And so, just a reminder, when we set up categories or weights in our gradebook, in our setup stepper, we pick different colors for each task. Homeworks are blue for me, classworks are green, and so you'll see this is now a classwork assignment that is green. Now, in terms of how this looks inside of Synergy, if I click on the name of this assignment, I get the description I typed for the kids right here. And this is nice not just for me, but for the parents and the students, because if you look up here, publish to portal means this is visible now in ParentVUE and in StudentVUE. So if a student, fails an assignment and the parent wants to know a little bit more information about that assignment, in ParentVUE, they can come here and see these instructions and understand a little bit more. Now, at this point, I still have the power to alter things. I can add that sheet from Google Drive if I want the parent to be able to see that blank assignment. I can add that YouTube video if it's more of a resource for them. But anything that you add right here, just keep in mind, the parents can see it. If you use the Teacher Instructions tab, that's just a note to yourself. That won't be visible under ParentVUE or StudentVUE. So I may put a note here that this is more of a participation grade, so that I remind myself that I'm not going through it with a rubric or any kind of like a scoring matrix, that this is really just to see that the kids did it, okay? So over here on this side, you'll see this kind of reflects what it is that we saw in Google Classroom, just in terms of the due date, the assignment date when I gave it. You'll see over here, it tells you this is going to be a marking period 1 and progress report period 1. In Synergy, it does distinguish between those two things. So you want to make sure that you've got it in both MP1 and PR1 so that it does show up as both in the marking period average and the progress report average. Down here, we've got our information that we entered. The expected duration in minutes is there so that you can tell a student or a parent how long it should take a child to do that assignment, okay? But this looks good to me, so we're actually in really great shape. This means that everything is up to date. I haven't changed anything. I just X out of it, and I'm back in my grade book. Now, we did talk about the fact that you don't necessarily want to grade everything that you have in your Google Classroom. So what if I decide, you know what, the kids had a tough time doing this task. I don't love that it's going to hurt their average in the first week of school. I don't want it to count as a grade. If I come up here, I can actually delete this item. It'll remain in Google Classroom, but it'll be deleted from the Synergy gradebook, and it won't impact their average. So I'm going to delete, and you'll notice it's gone. And when I pop over here, I still have it in Google Classroom. The assignment still exists. The kids can still access it and do the work or get the directions, but it's not going to negatively impact their average over here. So that just shows you a little bit of the functionality when you are working in a synced Google Classroom. We have another video for creating assignments inside of Synergy, which is also valuable to know this year. If you have any questions, please reach out and let us know, and we'll work together and get you some answers.